Welcome to the Glenn Beck program. Tonight, Valerie Jarrett has the reason why Obama is failing, believe it or not. He's just too darn smart. I'm not kidding you. Plus, Van Jones, the 9/11 truther and radical communist who defends cop killers, shamed? No, he's getting awards. And speaking of communism, Toyota. The executives grilled by Congress today. Congress, who's overseeing and owning GM, a direct competitor of Toyota. What a mess. How do we fix it? Well, we think out of the box. I'll show you how and why right now. Come on. Hello, America. How are you? We have some choices to make. We have to start thinking radical. We have to learn from the past and start thinking radical. Now, there are two choices. We can be these radicals, or we can be these radicals. This is Van Jones. He is radical. It's frightening what's going on behind the scenes, and you will understand why these people are now in and around our White House in the next 20 minutes, okay? Progressives don't want you to read real history because that way they can hide their failures and also hide behind masks. But in order to get out of the mess that we're currently in, it is imperative that we understand how we got here. We've just designed another 20 minutes of, just to get ratings, those history lessons for you. This one's a little tough. When I was a kid, I used to watch television, and I used to see what was, going on. And one of my favorite movies, still is for my kids, was The Music Man. I don't know if you remember this. I kind of feel like this sometimes, I kind of feel like there's trouble. Friends, we got trouble. Back when we were growing up, after the World Wars, people were freaking out about nuclear weapons. Everybody was, I don't know about you, but they used to show these movies in school. I used to be so freaked out. Remember the duck and cover thing? And you were like, okay, I don't think my desk is going to protect me from this. And it was scary because we really thought the Soviets were going to just vaporize us. Well, Science World was working on an idea to protect us. And they came up with several ideas. One was, have you ever heard of the Doomsday device? This was the most remarkable thing. When I started researching this, I don't know, a few years ago and just looking into history, this is the most amazing thing I've ever heard. They actually, this kooky scientist, the global warming type, they actually thought, if we put a series of data points into a computer on the big cards with the punches on them, and they would create some sort of a program that would calculate the risk of the world going into a war, a nuclear war. And if anybody started to make those moves, well, then the computer would take over. And here's what they wanted to do. They wanted to take a massive stockpile of nuclear weapons, and they wanted to bury them in the earth and put it all over the earth. So then the computer, the centralized computer, would say, if Russia does this, or if the United States does this, if anybody starts moving in this direction, the computer would read it, and it would automatically trigger, back to the central computer, it would trigger a nuclear explosion. And the entire world would blow up. Okay? Yeah. Luckily, scientists said, I don't think so. I'd like to go out on a limb and say, I think this theory has a few holes in it. Weapons of mass destruction. Kind of rings a bell. What if the computer had a glitch, or, I don't even know if there were hackers at the time, but there's a lot of ways we could blow up the world. Okay? The world said no to that idea. And instead, the way to stop a thermonuclear war, some sort of mass holocaust because of nuclear weapons, this was the first idea. The second idea was, I think that this was mad. But this is mutual assured destruction. The idea was, if two countries engaged in nuclear attacks, let's say we were, say North America was coming after South America, and we launched against South America, they could launch against North America, and then we'd both be vaporized. So everybody just armed each other to the teeth. Mutual assured destruction. It was a way to keep everybody from moving. But this one wasn't even good enough for the thinkers. They said, no, that's not even good. How do we do it without weapons? Well, now let me take you back to right after 9/11. I was a really lazy American. I didn't know much about American history. I didn't know anything about anything, really. I was just starting to come into my own and try to figure things out in the last, the 5 years prior to that. And I decided, boy, I don't know anything about the Middle East or American anything. How did we get here? I started reading everything I get my hands on. One of the books I found was this one, Tragedy and Hope. This was written in the early 1960s by a very well-respected professor. He taught at Georgetown, Harvard, Princeton. He was all over. His name was Carroll Quigley. He has mentored people from every president for I don't know how many years. He was also a very close mentor to Bill Clinton. In fact, I believe he was the guy who helped Bill Clinton become a Rhodes Scholar. He had a better idea than the Doomsday Device or MAD. And in this book in 1962, 63, somewhere in that area, he said, I've been working on it, and I've just played a minimal role in it, but I've figured out a way, and we've already put it in, and I've been told I can now tell the world what the device is that will stop us from having an all-out world war. The tragedy is world war. The hope was an end to all wars. Okay. How did they do it? Instead of tying everybody to a master computer that showed that we're going to blow everything up, they decided to tie everybody's economies together. That way, nobody would go out and really go after Europe, and nobody would come after the United States, because we'd collapse if we could tie our economies together. This came out in the early 60s. He said, you will no longer see any wars that are fought out full force. There will be no clear victors or losers anymore. Early 60s this came out. Think about it. Have you seen any real winners or losers? Vietnam, the Gulf Wars, even Afghanistan with us or Russia. There hasn't been a big war anymore. It was mutually assured destruction. If somebody launches a nuclear weapon, we're going to launch nuclear weapons back. Mutually assured destruction. Mutually assured economic destruction. Okay? No weapons involved, just money. Tie it all together. Okay, let's leave the past, and now let me explain to you why we're in so much trouble, because now we got to go to the future. We go around the globe. Let me show you what's happening now over in Greece. Over in Europe, the economy is failing. Their debt is more than twice what Russia owed when it defaulted in '98. The unrest is now beginning to boil over. The people are striking. The unions there are saying no cuts to anything that we have. There are riots and violent outbursts. It's ugly. George Soros, of all people, a progressive who advocates for EU-style policies and kind of that global government, acknowledges now that it's not just Greece in trouble. It's Spain, Italy, Greece, Portugal, and Ireland, who are also floundering. Of course, Soros' solution is more intrusive monitoring. Okay, big brother Soros, I don't even know what that means, but I don't think I want any of that. All right, so you have all of these countries going down in domino effect. We're starting to see now people are freaking out. Wait a minute, what's happening in Europe? Apparently, their economies are all tied together. It's almost like we're all interdependent on each other. Oh, wait a minute. Yeah, that's right. To stop nuclear war, we could just tie all of our economies together. Who would have seen this coming? Who would have seen this coming when all we were really trying to do was stop nuclear annihilation? It's why George Soros' type global master planning idea is horrible. When we're all tied together, when one falls down, we all fall down. If America falls economically, the entire world will fall. If China falls, the world falls. Europe falls, the world falls. Got it? It's the reason we now hear on television the phrase, it's just too big to fail. But nobody explains why. They don't explain, what does that even mean? Now, I just have. If these countries go down, it was designed for a different reason entirely, for the entire system to go down. One person has said this clearly, but I think it was sincere, but maybe he was acting shocked because he doesn't know history or he doesn't know how our system was put together or why it was put together. But right after TARP, everything was going on. One congressman on C-SPAN said this. Watch.